Brother Bill. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Doing all right. I know you're like one of the people that got me to do this, and I knew that you were one of the people I wanted to get on. To think about the podcast and where we started and where my mindset started, and for the ones that are watching this, I hope you know that the man I'm sitting across is the one who inspired me to get into this way of pushing and exceeding your possibilities with life, and the way you think about your life and the way you want to push and be successful. And I wanted to get you on because you have a very interesting life that you have lived, and inspired me, of course, and I've taken it to heart that anybody can push themselves to limits they never knew they had. So I knew your story is, like, we've had some great stories on. Brother Bill, you have an excellent story. Brother Bob had a really good story. Brother Mike, Sister Marcia, and then Brother Nathan as well. Your story it's one of its own. We've learned that people, they have their own story and they have their own way of life that they've learned from. They learn their own things, and you've learned things that, some people, they wish they didn't have to learn the hard way, but I know you've learned them and you've conquered them. Through God's help, you've been able to figure out where I need to be. And if you want to give your testimony to the way where you think it should start, if it starts with you as a child, or it starts with the way you were raised, from like your teenage years, I'm trying to think. I know you've had the history where the juvenile years. I think we've all had those teenage years where we had to figure out ourselves, and you have your own incredible story. So if you don't mind sharing that to the whole world.
Well, after I was invited out to do this, it did make me think back a little bit. So, and I've been struggling the last couple of years with memory from the motorcycle wreck.
I do know.
But what came to my mind was the path.
Mm-hmm.
And to take it all the way back, when I got saved,
mm-hmm.
I was in a jail cell.
Mm-hmm.
And God, He actually came to me and said, now I have you where I can talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of ironic because I didn't know I was running. I didn't know conviction. I think I was probably 18 or 19. And I knew about God, but I really didn't recognize His voice until then. And that got my attention. And because He knew exactly where I was at in life. And He started talking to me. And I think the topic that I really want to convey is the path. There's a path. And we're talking about success. We're not talking about only physical, financial. We're talking spiritual too. So to me, they both run parallel with each other in different realms, but at the same time, I wouldn't have known it was a dream come true or a prayer to be where I'm at today. I wouldn't have known that. I did not know that at 18. So with that being said, there's a path, and I think it's in Job 27:1 or something like that. It's like the fowls of the air, the vultures don't see this path. I didn't see it at 18, but when you look back and you see the path, you recognize it, what God had done for you. You see things, you recognize things up front. If you call it hindsight, that's fine too. But up front, you're kind of questioning at 18, what am I going to do? What is there to do? How do I want to live my life? But really, when God came to me, he brought a way. He brought that way. And of course, I was not educated by any means. I failed in school, failed at everything, ended up in jail. But he put me on a path that you can't see, you don't recognize it, but he led, so I followed. I have to follow that, and I followed it ever since then. It's been 30 some years now. So from crime to success, God done it. You can't do it within yourself. So the thought I had is, if there's a question for anybody that probably would see this, that I could say, you got to trust God, and he'll get you there. So that's success for me.
I love the success story because, success is kind of where you need to be, because someone can feel successful with $100,000 salary, and then somebody feels successful with a $50 million salary. And I think, but then also when it comes to real success, it's where it's at in your heart, and if God's in your heart, because you could feel a lot more successful with a good paying job if you're okay with God. And that's one thing that you've always enlisted in me is, it's all from God. It's all from God. Whatever I've gotten, whatever I have, the material things, they don't measure up to what I have in my heart. And I know how you are. You'd much rather sell all your belongings, all your Camaros you've had, and all your fancy fast cars. You would get rid of them all to watch all your kids grow up with what I've had, with what I have in my heart, to have them be saved and to have them live for God. And that's something that you've always told me, and that's made me think, because I think the whole world, they chase this whole money. I need this, I need that. They look at on their social media, they see the guy with the fast car, they think that's success. But it's actually not. Success is where you're at in your heart. Because I can cry in a Lamborghini, but I still got depression.
Yeah.
But if I have a good home life, good wife, raise my kids well, I've done the best I can to raise my kids, and they're raised up in church, they're taking care of their life, you feel like you've given them the values that the Bible has, that can change your whole family history. That can change your family tree coming down. It's about how am I raising my life? There's got to be a push to, I need my life to be an example and not just a dollar bill. You know what I mean?
That's true. When God started talking to me, it was kind of like I knew who it was for sure, but the trust that you put into God to do the right thing, and that's why I really felt like I was so impressed when I first got saved, the all-wise God. And you kind of look around you. I mean, the creation, it's everywhere. Just the evidence is everywhere on how wise he is. So why wouldn't you follow God?
Mm-hmm.
If you look at it, for example, over in Job, God asked Job, where were you when I created the ocean? Where were you when I hung the stars?
Mm-hmm.
So I know you can read a lot of stuff and see a lot of stuff, but at the same time, when you read the Bible and you recognize what God had done for us,
Mm-hmm.
even sacrificed his son. And all this was kind of, I wouldn't say predestinated, because the way I was taught and grew up was a disaster. But at the same time, if you call it success, I call it I'm following God, what God has helped me with over the years. Because you wouldn't know how to get there from here. You just don't. It's on a daily basis that you inquire about right and wrong, the right path. And the path thing has really stuck out in my mind after you invited me out, just because it's like you don't want to. The path that I'm talking about, people just can't see it. You can't see it until you get saved. And then it's shown to you. And that changes on a daily basis, I would say. So, but I really think God knows where he wants you at anyway.
And if you were to train somebody, let's say, like the what you've helped me out, because I know you have a very caring heart and you have a very helpful heart. For anybody who wants to be, I would say maybe just, I wouldn't say like influential person, but someone who wants to be a leader where they're at. There's somebody who is always wanting to be like, I want to be that next step. I want to be at that spot where I can coach somebody with what I know, but in a way that is done as like a leader should be, like teaching. You've given me books. You've given me information that's helped me a lot. If you would have the Brother Bill seminar, what's like one of the first things you would probably say to be like, listen, if you want to become a successful person, I know you would say God is the number one thing. How would somebody go around, let's say they got saved and they were like, I want to be more, whether it's better in my prayer life and helping other ones, getting people involved, door knocking, or testifying, how can I be a better speaker, be able to help get my story across? What is your go-to thing that you can help somebody with?
Well, I really think if you, leading by example has always stuck out to me, because in my mind, it's harder to lead down a path by nudging somebody from the backside. If you led the way, if you took the charge to lead the way, if you're left in command. So really, the path, the direction is all based on knowledge, right? So if I wanted to be financially secure, I would read The Richest Man in Babylon. Just different books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. All those books, it compiles. Knowledge turns into wisdom, but you have to go after it. And I'm a slow reader. I don't like to speed read because I like to ponder. I like to study.
I do the same thing. Yeah.
I like to dwell on. I do my devotions in the morning. That way, I have all day to think about what I did read, and it gives you a certain strength, right? So I always felt like if I'd done it at night, I'd go to sleep and forget about it.
Exactly.
But either way, that's
you don't want to sleep on the information.
But I really feel like I can say something to you and say this is the way to go. Yeah. But if you don't see me do it and it's successful, it's a little bit harder to believe.
Yeah.
For example, I could tell somebody I'm successful. They don't know me, but they're like, oh, yeah, right. But personally, I know what success is, and I'm happy where I'm at, so it really don't matter. But if I'm trying to teach you, I have to show you what I'm talking about, because I don't expect you to believe everything that I say.
You got to be able to give what you got.
I joke a lot, so sometimes it don't.
I know. Sometimes I'm like, what do you mean by that, Ray Bill? And I'm like, okay, I get it now. Eventually you have to stop the joke and then you tell me. It makes sense the second time you say it. But I some things that I have learned from the Jim Rohn, what you've given me, the books you've given me from him, an excellent speaker, and there's things that just, it's not just, in a sense, skills that make you rich. And that's not really what, like, when I read it, yes, it can help me in the future, but it's more actually just, how can I be a better person? I think it's best to look in the Bible to see how can I be Christ-like. Okay, and then you take that, and it's like, okay, now how can I enhance what I know in today's society? Because the Bible is never going to change, but it actually fits with every current age of history, because the philosophies will never change. The parables always will be like the parable of the prodigal son, and that's those parables, they still translate today, because there's prodigal sons everywhere nowadays.
Yeah.
And I think there's some stuff like from Jim Rohn where it's work harder on yourself and not your job. And those things also just help you out as well, because the job is there to give you money, but if you're not valuable to the company, that's what you are. If you make $20 an hour, you're not paid by the hour. You're worth $20 an hour. So it's more of like, I like helping people. I know you're the same way, where if I want to help somebody, I got to be able to know what I need to help them with. And that's when it comes with because it is nice when you have something that can help. More than just wisdom, but spiritual advice. And that helps a lot too.
Yeah, it does. Growing up, I didn't have very good examples. Mm-hmm. And I'm not one that would say I'm a really good example. It's just that I really feel like if I'm like successful and that's what you want, I can give you some advice. And sometimes it's good, but sometimes it's kind of deep, if you ask me, just because you have to have that want to or that vision to get there. And sometimes, I've been criticized for reading a lot of weird books like, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or Rich Man.
Someone criticized you for that?
Yeah.
That's the poor dad talking.
It's like, you're old. It's like I just had 10 hours of class just last week. It's like, you're old. Why are you going to school? It's like, once God told me to get to work one time. He's like, you've got a family you got to take care of. Mm-hmm. Go get it done, more or less, is what he told me. And ever since, I've not sat down. And that's been 30 years ago, which,
What's the drive? What keeps you doing 10-hour classes, even when people call you old?
I still want to learn. I still want to know things. And, you kind of, you look around and you question, I don't question God. When God creates something, I admire that he already thought about everything. It's like, that is so awesome. And stars, fallen stars. I always look for fallen stars type of stuff. But in education, once you set that in motion, and it's the West Virginia time travel machine.
I love that.
Once you set that in motion, it works and it makes you more successful. And that is, you work 1.5 harder than your average person, so you're going to eventually be a little bit more successful, whether it's work, education, just whatever.
I know, like, there's young kids that are watching, so I know, like, this will help them as well. Is, if you, let's say, like, you're working, you could work anywhere. You could be working at, I know McDonald's gets a bad rap, but, like, if you work at McDonald's, or if you work at any, like, place, whether you're working at, like, computer place, where you're working just in a normal office, it is the hours you put in and what you put into the hours. Because I know, as you said, the West Virginia time travel machine, that's helped me a lot, because I know, like, if you're the kind of person, because there's two kind of people that exist. There's the one person who says, no matter what they pay, I will show up early and I will leave late. But the other person says, if they pay like that, I'm never going to show up early and I'm never going to stay late. And if it depends which person you're going to be, because it not only wherever you're at, you have to try your hardest, because that's hard work. Like, no matter, you have to learn what hard work is. And if I'm working 40 hours a week, that's nice. But if I'm willing to stay and be like, hey, I know y'all are busy right now, I'm going to stay and help y'all out. And that's like the mindset you have to be able to carry as well, is, a helping hand. And like, that helps you as well. Jim Rohn also says, when the lowest you get paid is $4 an hour, some companies will give you $5 an hour just because you'll whistle when you take out the trash. It's just the mindset you take with it. Yeah. So you have to be able to take what you got, and then you have to make sure that the way you think is not like, this is my job, I'm looking for the next step. I like thinking of where I'm at. Like, how can I grow where I'm at? Like, if I'm currently at this spot and this spot and this job, and I want to grow, instead of just saying like, I want to be able to make $1 million out there, you have to be able to learn, okay, can I grow where I'm at right now? Because it is a mindset, and I don't want to just talk about money because money's not it, but it comes also with the help of like what me doing here. Like, I don't get money from this, but I love doing this because it's a passion of mine, and you have the vision for it, and you have the vision for, okay, where am I right? I love where I work right now. I love working at Chick-fil-A. It helps me out, helps me to grow. I feel more attached to people. That's the kind of person I am, so I love doing that. If I can be able to learn how to talk to people, it's helped me here, talking to random people, because everybody's the same. You've learned with people are people, and they're kind of all the same. Like just the other day, Friday, drive-through line, we have our tent. One person, he went around the tent, like the way of the parking lot, and he pulled up to the side, and before you know it, everybody thought that was the way to go. So you learn things about people, and if you can take those things and be fascinated by them, it helps you out. And I know you've taught me, as Jim Rohn says, like, I'm now fascinated instead of being, I'm frustrated. I love that. And so does your wife. She loves talking like that.
It's funny. And that goes back to leading by example. But, if you're going to be a leader, you got to be knowledgeable where you're going, what route, what trade, any of that is. I don't like to be embarrassed. It really bothers me to be embarrassed. And so I do a lot of things to keep from being embarrassed. And whether I am embarrassed because I don't have a good education. Actually, I finished school in the 8th grade.
I don't think you should be worried about that now.
Well, not now, but for years I fought against that.
Really?
And I've really had to work hard on it just because I didn't have a good foundation. And with my kids, it's like you gotta understand about education, about knowledge, about wisdom. It all wraps up into one. The more you know, the better off you are. And they do say the new currency is knowledge. So if you don't know anything, you're gonna be broke. I really feel that.
From your experience from reading books, how has that changed your devotions? How has that changed your prayer life? What has that implemented into there?
Just the consistency. God's taught me, God has shown me his consistency, and I like that. That's appealing to me, that he doesn't change. He doesn't change. And he holds the rule. He holds the rule, and it's straight. And it's, when I see something produces, it looks good to me, and that's what I want, and that's what I try to duplicate. And but it helps me to be more determined, more consistent about. Sometimes I get a chapter in a day, and I set a goal for a chapter, but most of the time I get a chapter in. But I try to pick out scriptures to where I can think about them all day. So it kind of builds a knowledge base within itself. So, like I said, I'm a slow reader. It's been rough, but I enjoy getting taught. God will come down and just teach you right on the spot.
He will. It's quicker than you think.
It is. He'll stop you.
I know. No. You'll be having fun before you know it. He's like, let me stop this fun right now.
It's like, okay. It's funny. But I do enjoy the learning part of it as well.
I think the consistency does help as well, because if you're in a situation and there's there's different battles you'll get. There's different ones, from the big ones to the small ones, but the small ones, you're kind of feel like just like the same with the big ones almost, in a sense, because I've had small problems that, like the same feeling when you like go in your pocket and the phone's not there. Like, that's a panicking feeling. And there's other ones where you have big situations, like a family member who's like mortally sick, like having real life-threatening issues. And like those situations, they both carry weight. But if you have that consistency if you're consistent with God, God will be consistent with you. if you're always praying, you're faithful to pray 2 or 3 times a day, a good prayer life. If you have a good devotion life, you're taking time and in service, if you're taking care of, your way of worship. Elder Brother Wilcoxon had a message where he says, like, it does matter. I think the title was, It Does Matter. And it was, the way you worship does matter. The way you carry yourself does matter. And if you take those things, they help a lot. Because you're here as long as you're going to be living. And if you're saved and you're working the best you can for your spiritual life, God's going to give you some battles. He's just going to. It's tests. And it is good to be consistent. Because I like the consistency, the thing you said. It does help. And I know that there's things that, they come across, and you've definitely had some troubles. I know you've said the motorcycle accident. That one, you definitely had to take some time to really think about what you learned, haven't you?
Yeah.
So when the wreck happened and you started losing the memory and it started getting fuzzy and you had normal life's kind of sitting in, how do you adjust? How do you be like, okay, I need to get back to normal life and I can't let this hurt me too long. I can't dwell on it too long. How's the adjustment? Is it getting more into your devotion life and your prayer life? What helped best for you? Or is it just get with your family more, just kind of just having more appreciation for it?
No, I think going after things helped me a lot. Just for example, not only reading and praying, I couldn't remember what I would read, and that really affected me a lot. That's what created a desire to I went after God and said, I know I need this. Mm-hmm. And I know it's kind of odd, but if you don't know, you don't know. It's like, you don't know.
Yeah, you keep saying that, but I hope people realize, I know what you mean. If you do not know something, you didn't know it. And there'll become a time where you're supposed to know something, but you didn't know it. And I want people to know what that means, because how does it go again? Say it the right way, because you say it better than I do.
I don't know if I can.
But you can't say that now. It's your saying. You can't blow it up now. And thinking, you don't know what you didn't know because you didn't know it.
Yeah.
And it's basically just, there's some things you just don't know. And when you don't know something, this also happens with if you door knock as well, someone's going to come out with a scripture that you never saw it like that before. And it kind of helps you because you didn't know it. You don't know what you didn't know because you didn't know it. But when you go back and you're like, okay, they will never get me on that scripture ever again. No one's ever going to get me on that scripture. And that always helps is, I got to make sure I know what I need to know. But sorry, I kind of squirreled right there. You can go back to what you were saying about the help.
Well, my biggest issue was short-term memory. Mm-hmm. So I did not have any short-term memory. Yeah. And when I went after God to help me, it was I do remember some things, but it was in my past long. Mm-hmm. And I did not want to forget why He saved me, but the biggest issue was names, mm-hmm. friends that I for life of me could not remember. Wow. So I knew, of course I didn't remember the accident or anything like that. I don't know, one leg was paralyzed, I couldn't move it, and I mm-hmm. don't know if that was a memory thing or not at that time, or just damage. So little by little, my memory started coming back. Then I knew I had to work back physically mm-hmm. too. So when you're in limbo for a couple of years, it affects you. Just mm-hmm. I was hesitant when you asked me to come on.
I know you was. I had to get you Chick-fil-A to get on.
You bribed me. At the same time, just because I knew I'm still struggling with memory things. Mm-hmm. So I'm not, I don't like to read as much as I used to now.
I know.
Jim Rohn and all the books. You make me mad
when you say that.
I know you've recommended some books, and for the life of me,
and you're I'm done. I'm like, you gave me 50 books, but you can't take one of mine.
I'm retired.
I'm like, you can't tell me that.
But I think if you're earnestly looking, God's going to help you. So that's mm-hmm. why I've always had faith in God to help me through stuff.
I don't think I've ever asked you if you've ever had any books that were in the church library that you've taken that you liked.
And this has been a couple years ago, but I've got all the books from the library. So I guess what the Bible teaches has been my favorite, but I've always been enthused with Revelations. So I've always studied that for years. And of course, you're not going to know everything, I don't think, but it's intriguing because, you're talking about something that was written, years ago, and some of it's still in the future type of stuff. So it's just awesome.
Yeah, the way it talks about the Catholic Church, Martin Luther, the Protestant era, it's like weird. It's like you're reading a time traveling book.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird if you think of it like that. You're reading it because God would be a time traveler. He's going from back and he goes back to history, but he knew what would happen in the future. It's just kind of weird because we can't wrap our heads around that. We're so human that that doesn't comprehend. But Revelation is cool. Also, what the Bible teaches is a good one as well. And have you ever had a topic? Because I know when you become a reader and that's a passion of yours and you understand the thrill of having something you're passionate about. Has there ever been a time where you've read a topic? Was Revelation one of those topics where you're you got that reading itch where you wanted to read everything about it? Was that one of the ones?
Yeah, Revelations was. And I can always go to that. Especially if you get a new Bible, you gotta go through it, and it comes out right there is the Church of God. So that's what separates us from a lot of other people. They will not read that Bible, that book, because it's futuristic. And it's we're not there yet, and it's we're almost at the end. And they don't see it.
It's so obvious. I like how you said the church is in there because the whole book it's the Battle of Armageddon, evil and good, the battle of evil and good, and there's always, throughout the whole book, there's always people. There's a holy people that is being moved across the whole book. God has their hand on them, and they're moving across the whole book. And then you get to the end of the book, and that's the end of the story. That's when Jesus comes back. And they're still holy from that beginning of the book to the end of the book. And it's kind of funny when you think of, the holiness message is real because there's a holy people from that beginning of the book to the end of the book that stay holy. And there's no mixing in between there. There's no lines where it says that they ever became over to another sect of people. And that's why Revelation is very intriguing. Once you get in there and you start figuring out what's in there, it's like good food. It's like a 5-star restaurant. It's that good. Yeah. So I do it. Honestly, it for the church, for us, it does it brings kind of pride out of us to know that we come from a lineage of strong-hearted people.
That's right.
And we have people that from our lineage have taken care of themselves, and that just motivates me right now. What they went through in the dark ages. That motivates me to I have no reason to complain. What was probably your best story you kind of got out of Revelation that what part, if you even can remember, or was this the whole thing in Revelation itself?
I think it was the Mark of the Beast, the 666. So that was always because you kind of question what that really is through life. Even as a young guy, my parents, they used Revelations to scare us into getting saved. That was their tool in the Baptist church. Wow. Is that they'll read it to you.
Scare tactics people
in the middle of the night, you're scaring about dragons and stuff, and you got to go to bed, right?
That's not too good. Worrying about beasts.
But once I got to the age where I wanted to know the truth about it, and when you said that, it's about being right, because there's so much false religion there. You want to know what is right about it all, and that's where I dug into it. Is the Mark of the Beast, the 666, or whatever. At the same time, it's but you want to educate people too. You want to lead as an example, and don't tell them, it's this and this. You kind of want to show them the truth, and it teaches.
who we
Just
are.
being right, consistent, being right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't think church should be using scare tactics to get people in. But I know that there's something about, and I just thought about this, is that like God's one of the best storytellers ever. Like there's like Joseph is an incredible story, and there's stories like that. Like the Bible is supposed to be fun to read. Like it's supposed to intrigue you. Like that should be the best book you ever pick up, is the Bible. And you got to be able to enjoy reading that. If you don't enjoy reading the Bible, it's kind of hard to stay safe if you don't invest yourself emotionally with those stories.
Yeah.
Like I think you're probably the same way with me. I think you said that you're a visual learner. Like you kind of, when you read something, you put yourself in that moment, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm the same way. Like when I read Joseph, I feel like I'm in the desert. Like I'm in the jailhouse with them. It's dark out. There's no light, and it's about, like, I think you had your own Joseph story.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like it's everybody has their own story. It may not be they're in a jail cell getting saved, but eventually they come to a spot where they realize that, I need a change, and I love that. And you've helped people, you've helped me, and there's definitely moments where your son's an awesome kid. Lauren's an awesome kid. They're all awesome kids, and I definitely feel that if you want to, like you said, lead by example, you have to be able to push them in that direction. You have to have what we've talked about all this time is, you got to be able to push them into that direction, because if you don't have it, and that's why I think a lot of these parents nowadays, they kind of they've lost the act of care, raising your kids. And you've raised your kids hardcore, but like in a good way. Almost. Like I think it's kind of funny, because I think like it should be how your family is. Like y'all play Call of Duty every night, and like that's something that like you guys will remember for as long as you guys are around. And what's the key for, I would say, being a family man? How do you get your kids engaged? Because the way your son talks to you, I think it's made me think about how I want to be a father, because my dad has done a good job with me as well. But if for the ones out there maybe who want to become a better dad, like how does someone want to get their kids engaged with them, where it's like a friendship environment in the house?
I think really the trick would be, if there's a trick, is to meet them on their level, whether it's an education thing or love thing or caring or whatever you want to label it. You want to meet them in, like, for example, the Jim Rohn. I can meet you in that book. Mm-hmm. We can talk about that book. Yeah. And like he says, I really feel like when they're hurting, you want to be there in their hurt. When mm-hmm. they're happy and they're celebrating things in life, mm-hmm. you want to be part of that, and you want to kind of push it a little bit. Encouragement, doing the right thing. The Bible is our roadmap to keep us on the mm-hmm. path, Yeah. So if you read the Bible, I read the Bible as a family unit, we're on the same path, mm-hmm. And I really feel like God's is everything to all of us, mm-hmm. what I mean? And that's the common denominator there, mm-hmm. is knowing the truth. And but the gaming, and I call it teachable moments. Mm-hmm. I do play tricks on all my kids, and they know that. Even my grandkids know that now. It's like
they still think there's an alligator in your pond, and we live in Virginia, so like that's pretty good. You're pretty good at tricking people.
And that's a teachable moment, mm-hmm. really, because they learn. I think they learn better mm-hmm. when they can remember the moment, mm-hmm. type of stuff. So it's an education. I don't believe in college that much anymore, mm-hmm. because I'm self-taught, more or less, if I could say it that mm-hmm. way. So I did not push any of my children to go to college. Mm-hmm. I left that up to them if they wanted to do that. But I also told them about the West Virginia time travel machine. Mm-hmm. If you want an education, you got to go after it. Mm-hmm. Just like HVAC or plumbing. If I want that, that's totally separate than knowledge of anything else. So you just go after it. Mm-hmm. And they all went their different ways in knowledge, education. So, and we bring that all together as a family unit, and it works pretty good. So
Y'all family is awesome. I love hanging with y'all family. It's like a party. It's sometimes it can be a dangerous party, but most of the time it's fun. And that's what it should be. Family should be fun. It should be something where your family, when like getting together, shouldn't be that hard of a thing to do. It should be that much simple. And I think what it is that there has to be respect for you in the house as a father, and the mom has to have respect. But then again, there has to be something about, like, I'm not saying with my dad. Like, there's some things that I go to my dad about, and I like talking to him about, and that I know, like, I just want to talk to him about. And then with my mom as well, we talk about Disney. She loves Disney, and I love Disney, so we like talking about stuff like that. That's where you like you said, you meet them where they're at. And if you can build around that, and you enjoy their presence, because that's one thing is, you know, if your dad loves you, if your mom loves you, you should probably have the moral obligations to love them back, you know. And that's something that you've done. And also with HVAC, and I think your parent, I know like your the way you were raised, your parents was different. So you had to kind of learn from scratch almost. You had to take it as you went. And your kids, I think what they've done is they've kind of got behind. Look, what Arctic Sun went around, and I think they prayed with you some things. And like our family's the same way. And that's, you have to have a praying family. And through HVAC, you have your own business, and it does successfully. I know you said right now it needs some help, but that's just the way of the life of being a business owner. What is through that? How have you conquered your up and downs?
well, we own two different companies. Boyer's is a strong company. It's like 35, 40 employees. Arctic Sun's, it hovers between 10 and 15. So heating and air conditioning is seasonal. So we implement maintenance programs that we do the preventative maintenance before it gets hot or cold. So then we added plumbing to that. So there's a couple of different remedies that you can implement. Employees are really the good resources. I mean, you got to have good employees to make anything work. So there for a while, we done a lot of training, a lot of educational trips and stuff like that for like expos or whatever. Just try to keep up to date with new technology, new equipment. But I'm almost retired, so.
You're basically retired. You play Call of Duty too much for you to be employed. So I think you're retired, but you're almost there.
I'm hoping Billy's going to take over. But
He said he has to think about it. So
I know.
we'll have to see what he says later.
Well, what are they to think about?
Yeah, I do think as a business owner, you've done a really good job. It's
Thank
through
you.
prayer life, isn't it? Taking care of it. And what was one of the, if you've ever had a moment like this where you thought the company was going to go down, have you ever had those moments?
I've cried so many times over this because it was an acquisition. So Arctic Sun purchased a bigger company. So, and it was so huge of a deal. If we would have lost either one of those companies in that transition, we would have lost everything. So when I said that I've cried, it's mostly in prayer that we would pray about, and to just turn it over to God. Just, we felt like God gave it to us, so we also felt like, well, we're not going to lose it, but you can mismanage it and lose it. It's not purposely done, but you can mismanage it and lose it. But at the same time, I really felt like that was a blessing of trying to do what's right in God's sight. To me, that was, because anybody could work, right? You could work. It's when if God gave you something, you got to take care of it. You got to really handle it the way He would want you to, and that's, just really care.
Is that taking care of the employees? Is it leading them? Is that what it is? Innovating? Is that what it is? I know, like Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, says, if without innovation, you die.
Yeah.
So I know
Stagnant.
you have to be able to to grow, you have to be able to teach. Is it you on hands-on approach? Is that the approach you give?
That's I was into the motorcycle accident.
Okay.
So I was always trying to lead as an example. So I'm the one that would go to the classes and bring stuff back and train in-house type of thing. Or we got to the point to where I can send you videos for training or whatever on your phone. So I really feel like that's the key, is staying relevant to your trade or whatever, or even knowledge. So I know that's work, and some people don't like that type of work. So you do have employees that don't see things like you do, but you got to work around that. So you got to.
Because every employee is different. They all have their own different personalities. You have to work with the personality, because one person's going to put more hours than the other person, but you have to be able to know how can I get the most out of this other person, and how can they even be someone who can eventually add more value. Because some people, they just like being where they're at, and they just say, leave me alone, I'll just work. But those people you cannot have, because those are going to hold you down. You have to know your team. And are you the one, I actually don't know this, you're the one who does the interviews when you would hire people?
I used to.
You used to?
Yeah.
What were the things you would look for?
I would look for integrity and honesty, most of all, because you can teach anybody to do what we do. You just have to have the drive or the vision to get there. But it's so easy to be dishonest in what we do, because the customer don't have a clue what a transformer is for a HVAC or igniter. But so with that being said, if you have somebody that's honest, they're going to do what's right for the customer. And of course, then you don't have to worry about getting sued or in court or whatever for being dishonest. And I really think that's been the strength to Arctic Sun and Boyers. They know how we stand. And what's so funny, when we first purchased Boyers, we walked in and we set policies in place, like we don't want to hear any cursing, any swearing or anything from the guys. And they came back and said, it's not the guys you got to worry about, it's the girls in the office.
Wow.
I was like, well, it just stops here. So, but the present, to set that in motion, it says a lot to those employees for where the company's heading to. Just a good, clean atmosphere, because that's what we would want.
Yeah.
You work hard, and you don't want to put up with a lot of trash and stuff, worldly stuff. But at the same time, it's like we want a good work environment, and people want that. Some people don't know they want that.
Yeah.
That's what they want. So, but just being a good example, a good leader is what I would say.
You work with, maybe it's just what I do. When I lead, I have to lead teenagers, and that can be, sometimes adults are more harder than teenagers, because teenagers, they're kind of less, like they don't know as much. They kind of are more easy to, I don't say push around, but lead them in a way. It is kind of hard, because I know what you mean by, like, I don't like hearing cussing at work, and you have to let them know. But some things are just going to happen. And that's what I've learned is, Jim Rohn, I was listening to him today, and he was talking about the seasons and how work seasons. And, you can't change the seasons, but you can change yourself. Have you heard him say that?
I'm not sure.
Well, we just talked about your memories, so maybe. I think the way he said it was very compelling, because there's going to be times at the workplace that you can't change. You're going to have those times where there's drama going on that you don't want to have happen, and you may get dragged into it. And those are the seasons at work. But if you can change yourself, and there's some times where your integrity of your character, and that has happened to me, where my integrity just carried me through. Where there's situations that have happened, and then the boss knows that, like, hey, London, he does take care of himself, and he does have a good attitude at work, and we have never had problems like this with him. So they almost dismiss you, and they kind of, like, you may not be involved, but sometimes you're at the worst place at the worst time, and the boss will help you out. And that's one thing, as like a Christian, you have to be able to, like, if the people you're working around are saying those kind of jokes, you can't just fall around with them, because that will help you out as well. When from the aspect of me who works under somebody, but for you who not own somebody, but you're leading a company. Like, not only are you leading people, but you're leading your paycheck as well. So you have to, I like the way you put it, where you're like, the cussing stops here. that stops here, because you have to. It's almost like, as for me in my house, to serve the Lord, because your company is almost your house. Have you thought about it like that as well?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, has your house gotten rowdy sometimes?
God's really blessed us, because I really think once you lead that way and people see that, they fall in line. If they're going to curse or whatever, they're going to go out back, or, we just like smoking and stuff like that. We take a stand against that on even our property and our buildings and stuff like that too. But at the same time, people watch what you do. Just like, for example, you can say whatever, but your actions speak loudly. And whether that's the way we dress, the way we handle ourselves, or even if customers complain, we've always taken the customer's right because of the integrity and honesty. Even though we won't say they're right all the time, but in our work environment, we give our customers that leadway of, we're probably going to be wrong, because it's it's what they believe for the most part. But at the same time, the way we price our jobs out and everything, it's called straightforward pricing. The customer knows what it's going to cost them before we do the work. So that alleviates a lot of gray area. Like, do the job, then hand them a bill, and it's like, it's too much. It's like, no.
They have to know before.
Yeah, before it's like, it's going to be $1.298 or whatever. That's like, okay, yes, I want that. So it's a done deal. So, but either way, integrity, leading by example is the goal there.
And how do you deal with people that don't want to measure up?
I have a saying at work. It says, be changed, change or be changed.
You told me that.
Yeah.
You told me that with a pointed finger in my face.
And I also say, you're throwing up a wall right now. If I get over it, I get around it, or underneath it, I'll get on your backside. You're done. I've had to actually say that multiple times, because when you do an acquisition or a merge in a company, it's usually hostile. People are offended, and but you're always a bad guy going into something like that anyway. But you win them over one at a time. Even teenagers, we've got young people, they love the clean atmosphere. They don't like, of course, we want people to dress modest and everything. We've got women in the office and stuff like that. But they don't necessarily recognize it, but once they see it, they like it. So that means a lot for us as a family.
I like that. When it comes to being a leader and it comes to teaching people, let's say you have, let's say it's like life or death. You got to get this thing across. There's some times where, I'm at work and I have people and they're outside, and we like to call it focuses at work. And if you're outside and let's say you're taking orders on the iPad, we have to make sure that you're treating the guests like they're supposed to be treated, and you have to make sure that they feel like they're at somewhere else. They're not just a fast food restaurant. You have to make them forget that. If when it comes to HVAC, how do you get people to take in those focuses and, take them into the workplace? Because if they're not, that's when you have to learn as well. Can these people, do you trust them with their integrity, as you said, to go when you're not around at someone's house and treat them people with that integrity? Is it, the way by you lead? Is it a respect thing? Or is it just hiring good people?
I think it's a little bit of everything. And most of this comes in the hiring process, is that you try to weed, you ask questions that will help you weed things out. For example, when we hire, we normally have literature that they would go by, because our strength is, if everybody's reading the same book, company policies and procedures, I probably shouldn't have to tell them everything about the company. Even though it's kind of expected of them to read the book. But they'll just, for example, if we send technicians out, our dispatchers will call the customer after he leaves or she,
Do you still do that like always, every single time?
Every call.
Okay, that's
We debrief, and usually the office, because the technicians are going to tell you one thing, but when your office calls and they get a good vibe or a good review, Google review or whatever, you're doing a good job.
Mm-hmm.
So to lead, the example is to do things. Just you don't expect people to do something that you're not going to do.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, it's like we want we want the clean cut, clean looking vans, technicians. We want that because first appearance is everything.
The new vans look good. I love the way they look now.
Thank you.
Do you know where where did the name Arctic Sun come from? I actually don't think I ever knew this.
Well, God gave that to me about 4:00 in the morning.
Really?
Because I was trying to start a business, and for the life of me, I could not figure out what to do. And he woke me up and said, Arctic Sun. I woke my wife up and said, write this down.
Really?
Because this is the name of the company. So
you didn't want to write it down? You woke your own wife up to make her...
Yeah. I was like,
write down the word?
But no, I was more excited that I came up with the name more than anything. But either way, I wanted her to know that. But at the same time, I really felt like God gave me that. So, you try to just take care of it. And you want it. You can't come out and say, this is a godly business. You just don't do that. But we want it to be a clean-cut, organized business. And that's not to say we're not going to make mistakes, but we do try our best to train people biblically on ethical things, whether they know it or not. It's like, rules and laws that we don't smoke in the trucks and don't smoke on their property and whatever. But tattoos, you got to cover them up, stuff like that. This is old school stuff, but at the same time, we want it to be a good example to those that's coming on, the young people, so we can teach them.
Appearance is everything.
Yeah.
They shut the door, and some people, you can't ask of people to be very forgiving and give people the benefit of the doubt. But if someone just show up with some tattoos, and that could be like the most nicest person in the world, they'll ever treat them really nice, but they may look at them and they may have their opinions, and the way they look, the way they smell, all that stuff matters. I think even Jim Rome talked about it as well. All that stuff, your appearance that affects the way you look, and that's your character as well, because that reflects on your character as well. And now, when it comes to the way the business was done, when you were starting it up, did you see the business in your head before it came out? Is that the way you were? Because the way I made the podcast, I kind of saw the podcast in my head. I kind of knew the way I wanted to go with it. It was that vision. It was that vision of I see it in my head. Was it easier than you thought it was going to be? I'm sure it wasn't easier than you thought. It's probably harder than you thought, just like for me here. But did you see it in your head, the way you wanted the business to go, the decision you wanted to make? Did you see it all in there?
No, I think it's something that formed over a matter of time, just because when I started my business, I was an HVAC installer. So there's a big difference between an installer and a service guy and a maintenance guy, not counting a manager or a business owner. So I kind of grew into those positions one at a time. And of course, it's a ladder type of thing. Got 3 master's license and a Class A contractor's license, which are big things for me to achieve. But that's part of climbing the ladder, is that, I'm 60 almost. But at the same time, I did not recognize success when I first started. I wouldn't have known what it looked like if I saw it. Of course, nice trucks, nice uniforms, nice logos, all that's part of it. But if you don't answer your phone, you're not going to do a job. So you gotta. We used to answer like, "How can we make you smile today?" When a customer would call in to our office, that was the greeting that they were going to get. And sometimes you get a good response out of it, like, I'm glad you answered your phone because we're in distress. We need help, Can you come out here? And that would make me smile. And it's like, yeah, we'll come out there, whatever.
Yeah.
But either way. And our customers had grown to like that type of response, that and been punctual. When we say 8 o'clock, we'll be there by 8.
That's good. It also is integrity right there, showing up when you say.
It does, and we since COVID we have struggled. It's the culture's just changed on us so fast. And
really, in what way?
It's like just too laid back. I don't care. It's like people don't need money. They don't need to live. They don't need to buy a house. I don't know if it's the housing market that's just priced so far out that they can't afford it. So their goals, their life dreams is just vaporized in a sense that.
So sad,
yeah. But it's just not here because our businesses are in 2 different locations. It's all over. So.
How many hours from installer to business owner? Like how many days, how many years, how much was it?
Well, Arctic Sun is 25 years old. So we started that in 2000.
Okay.
And we had an acquisition in 2015, which we grew 300 and some % 1 year. So anytime you grow like that, it's going to be difficult to manage. And we grew different areas through mergers and acquisitions and purchasing of the other, companies or bringing in departments like plumbing and stuff like that. So I'm still learning. At 60, I'm still learning. A little bit slower, but
you said you're tired of reading, so I don't know what you're learning.
The guys are teaching me a lot.
Really? Is it the new guys, the younger guys?
All of them. I
Really?
learn from them every day. It's like,
is it the new generation
I wouldn't
of
do
kids?
that because that didn't work. Huh?
Is it the new generation of kids, the Gen Z kids? Are they different from what you've had in 2000?
I think it takes a lot more training for them to
really
get it. Yeah.
Do you think they have different qualities that you didn't see in the ones before?
Not work qualities. If
really?
It's
is
like
it people skills?
Yeah.
They're better at people skills?
I think they're worse at people skills.
They're worse at people skills.
Yeah, just because, in our field, you have to have these, and a lot of our guys are just bashful. It's like they don't want to talk.
Really?
Yeah. They'll sit in a truck and not do anything else but sit, but either way. I don't know. Billy's doing pretty good. He's coming along. So he's got a guy he's training and stuff too. So we've got other guys at the other companies that's young, you know what I mean? So it's just a long process to get somebody where you need them to be. We do call them superstars. Once they achieve certain levels of performance, we consider those superstars, and we do take care of them.
Really?
You know what I mean? So,
you got to, yeah.
Yeah, you have to.
As a business owner, you got to take care of your own.
Yeah.
So to wrap it up, because I think you've done an excellent job, and I knew you would be a great guest up here. I knew you'd be really good, and you definitely have succeeded at. If from someone who didn't have an education growing up, got saved in a jail cell, and to find themselves with, if I can say, multi-million-dollars, and I know you don't see it like that, and I know that it's more the spirituality, but from someone who came like that, what's one message you would like to send in the world that you can help somebody with, to say, like, I know what you're going through. If you ever go through the worst, if you think I'm the worst, I was there. What's one message you would give out?
This is going to sound odd because you hear it so much, but really, I really think God has made a path for me, and to stay close to God and to know where that path is, to follow that path. So there's hope in life, because I can remember being young, is like not knowing what to do, where to go, how to do it, or anything. And I really feel like once I got saved, God taught me so much. He's the one that said, you got to get educated. You got to get smart about things. You got to be a consistent hard worker, loving, caring type of man.
Yeah.
He said, you got to be a man, yeah. So that was the direction that I didn't get from my dad. And I don't know if it was personality or if I was just totally so rebellious that I didn't want to listen, and that could be the case too. So, but once God spoke, it was like, that's God.
Mm-hmm.
And you pay attention to what he says. If he ever does come to you, pay attention, because it's not going to be a loud voice. It's going to be more of even softer than a whisper. It's like, no, you know that's not right.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, but either way, I'd say seek the truth, seek God for wisdom, what to do.
I love that.
Don't move until you hear.
Mm-hmm.
That means don't do anything until you hear what he's got to say.
Don't make rash decisions.
Yes, don't.
I like that.
And that's hard. That's going to be hard because, our society nowadays wants it right now, but that's not the way God works.
You got to be patient with it.
And it's a test, too. Are you sincere? Do you really want that?
You got to be. I like that.
So I really think it's waiting on God.
Well, Brother Bill, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for coming on. Appreciate it. I know that everyone will love to hear what you had to say, but thank you for coming on.
You're welcome.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you guys. See you guys. Hey, it's London, guys. Thank you for watching. Hit the bell to make sure you know when we post more videos, and also like and subscribe. Thank you, guys.